Live from the nation's capital, where he was up until, wow, Senator John Kennedy is here. Mr. John, have you even been to bed yet? And if you have you gotten more than like 90 minutes to 2 hours shut-eye? How are you this morning other than tired?
I'm okay. We finished, wasn't as late as I thought it would be. I think we got wrapped at about 2 o'clock, so I got a few hours sleep. And,
1.3 a $1.3 trillion omnibus budget bill that only it covers another 6 months of government spending or so. And this is, I'm not going to quote you the story, the great Dane quote, which by the way was awesome, especially for this National Puppy Day. But you thought this was an awful budget from the get-go. Tell us why.
Well, unless I get you thrown off the radio, I'll quote it. I said it's a great Dane-sized whiz down the leg of every taxpayer in America, and I meant it.
Yes, you did.
It's horrible. It's adding they don't even know yet, but I know for a fact it's going to add at least $1 trillion to the debt. They wouldn't let us debate the bill. They wouldn't let us offer amendments to the bill. For example, the bill includes more money for our military.
Excuse me, pardon me, John. When you say they, you mean Republican leaders, McConnell et al., would not let you, the members of the Senate, discuss the contents of this bill.
And the Democratic leaders. The running the show here were Senator McConnell, Speaker Ryan, former Speaker Pelosi, and Senator Chuck Schumer from New York, which is why the president didn't get his wall, but Chuck Schumer got a really swell tunnel.
Who's caving here and why?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I wish I did. That's why I voted no and raised all manner of Hades, because we weren't allowed to amend the bill. I'm fully supportive of extra money for the military, but what I went to them and said, why is my choice only to get the money for the military by borrowing it from China? Why can't you open up the bill for amendments? And if you think there's no waste in the federal budget, then you're like a rock, only dumber. I mean, at least give us a try. Don't just borrow the money. Let us try to find it within the budget.
I've got to be suspicious when Chuck Schumer. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say, that upset the Republican leadership. That upset the Democratic leadership. And so I said, okay, I just work here, but I got the same vote y'all got, and mine's no. And there was at one point I thought we had a chance to kill it, And I also thought we had a chance to get the president to veto it. But I think the president, I heard early this morning.
That was my next question, is that, yes, I heard the same thing, that the president says he will sign the bill. Now, it's been said by a lot of folks that only Donald Trump can tear down the bridge, the connection that he has with his supporters. But his conservative supporters are going to look at this bill and go, how can you sign that? Do you think the president will damage his, not reputation, connection with his voters if he signs this?
I don't know. I'm sure it's something. I mean, the president's a smart guy. I mean, I'm sure he'll sort it out in his mind and do what he thinks is best for America. My point to him would be, which was the point to my colleagues, that we can arrive at the same place without having to borrow so much money. And I had the option last night under the Senate rules. One senator can shut everything down. And Senator Paul, who spoke out with me, he almost did it but decided not to. I decided early on I'm not going to shut it down because I know the votes at the end. I knew that there were votes there to pass it. So why do I want to make people stay up 2 days and 2 nights when we're going to end up in the same place? And Rand determined the same thing, and sure enough, they passed it. They passed it with overwhelming Democratic support. I mean, the Democrats in the Senate are just like kids at Christmas. They love this bill like the devil loves sin, man. They just think this is the greatest bill they've ever seen. because they like to spend money. And I'm not saying that everything in the bill is a bad expenditure. It's not. The military needs some money, but we could have done it in a better way other than just charging it to your credit card.
It's the largest pay raise for military in 10 years, 12 years, right?
Yeah, it's not nearly enough. It's about 2%. But they'll get that money. I guess they'll get it in dollars. They may get it in Chinese currency, because that's where we're getting the money.
Or Russian money, maybe. Yeah.
Is this just an example of how what is called the deep state, the Democrats, the liberal Dems, Schumer, etc., and what bothers me more and more and more is that the Rhino Republicans, if you will, the McConnells or that they are the ones really in charge, governing against the will of the people.
Well, Robert, you make a good point, but I'm not going to blame this on the deep state. This is on us in Congress for letting it happen. Every member of Congress, House and Senate, has one vote. Nobody can vote twice. We've let it happen to us. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. He stood up like a road warrior in the House, and he is much more polite than I am. And he, in his firm but polite way, said, "No mas, count me out." And he voted no.
And yet, we're getting ready to we're going to do this all over again before the year's over, right?
Yeah. This just gets us through October. Now, and I'm going to vote no again if they don't go back to following the law. The law says these bills, they're actually supposed to be 12 budget bills, one for each area of government, and they're supposed to go through committee where we can debate them and amend them, and then they're supposed to come to the floor of the Senate where we can debate them and amend them further.
Well, Mr. John,
if they don't let us do it again, I'm voting no again.
Pardon me for alluding to your previous Great Dane size whiz analogy.
You can say whiz. That's
but if thank you. If this is kind of like a big old Great Dane staking out his territory, hasn't the territory been staked, and didn't the establishment, both Democrats and Republicans, win?
Well, there are a lot of, I don't know about the House, because I have enough of a challenge understanding the Senate, but I can tell you there are a lot of rank-and-file senators that are upset over this process. Some of them voted against the bill. Others didn't. I'm not going to criticize anybody. Everybody's vote is sacred. But, there are only a couple of Mikeys in the Senate. Remember the cereal commercial, Mikey, let him eat it first? Mm-hmm. I'm one of the Mikeys, and I spoke up immediately. And I'm going to keep speaking up, and it's ruffled a few feathers, but they either need to change the procedure, or I'm just going to keep voting no.